If you're an older grappler, then hey, probably sit down and listen. Or if you're a grappler who's competed and been injured severely and not sure how they should manage coming back, or even if they should come back, keep watching. Anyways, guys, I got an email from Toby, who's on my email newsletter. You guys can join the newsletter either here or here. You guys know how it is. It's always up here. And he said, I competed at Queensland State Championship in Australia earlier this year. I got a silver medal in my weight division, then went to my first bout of the Absolute. I was up against a far bigger competitor, and after evading him for about a minute, I tried to duck under and got caught in what I believe to be called a cow catcher. He fell on top of me with his whole weight, crushing my neck forward. In that moment, I thought I had broken my neck. Fortunately, I hadn't, but I did suffer nasty whiplash and had spinal injury where the muscle was torn off my thoracic vertebrae. I was lucky the outcome could have been significantly worse, and within 2 weeks I was back on the mats, gently easing back into training. It's been 3 months since the injury, and I'm healing up. I'm still pretty weak in my neck and back, but I'm able to train and spar carefully with some people I trust. That said, my anxiety about competing is now far less about losing and far more about the fear of being injured or seriously hurt. If you have a moment, I would very much love to hear your thoughts or opinions on how to deal with this. I'm looking to hear from you. All the wishes from down here in God's country, sunny Queens Island. Good day and hooroo. All right, thank you, Toby. I already responded to this on my email newsletter, but I thought it was a great topic of conversation, guys, because to be fair, like, honest injuries can be extremely traumatic. And let me see, how old was Toby? Toby is 45 years old, right? So he's an older guy. Toby's a 45-year-old guy. He 92 kilos, about 200 pounds, and he got hurt by a guy who was about 120 kilos, so closer to my size, 250, 260. Yeah, getting hurt in competition can be traumatic. I tore my ACL and LCL, just partial tears, but I thought I wasn't going to be able to wrestle. It was, I think, about 3 weeks out from the conference tournament, which, if you guys don't know, the conference tournament in the NAIA is the tournament that qualifies you for the NAIA national tournament. And essentially, I wasn't able to wrestle for 3 weeks. I was able to eventually, get on the bike and move and keep my cardio and stuff up pretty well. But to be honest, the injury itself wasn't the big issue. It was more or less, like Toby said, my anxiety, my fear of getting re-injured, or the fear, mostly, honestly, it was the fear of getting re-injured. It wasn't the fear of losing. It wasn't none of that. And to be honest, it's the sad truth. In reality, what we do is very dangerous, whether you're competing or whether you're practicing. At any moment, and I've seen it on both sides, at any moment you could just get hurt and severely hurt. And it's the truth. It's the sad truth, but it is the truth that what we do, whether we're doing wrestling or jiu-jitsu or judo or whatever, grappling, martial arts, it tends to put us in the fire for severe injuries because it just is what it is. Toby's situation happened because he was going against a much bigger opponent, but yeah, of course, I think a similar injury could definitely happen against someone of his size. But honestly, my advice is this to Toby, and I've already told him this, but maybe this is good for you. My advice is, if you've gone through a traumatic injury, it's to just take your time, to just be patient. Go see your PT or your physio and take the tiny steps to try to build confidence in your body and to build confidence in that injury. After you've taken the time, maybe take a couple of months to just get comfortable rolling again, right? You're feeling good, you're feeling great, you're still going to PT, you're going to physio, you're lifting, you're strengthening the muscles around the injury, you're just getting more and more confident in yourself. I think that's the place to start, is take it really slow, build your confidence up. Don't go and compete as soon as you start to feel good. Nah, it's too fast, it's too soon, right? Instead, think about just taking your time, being patient. And the next thing is evaluate what it means to you to compete. Toby is a grown man, right? He has a family, he has a 9-to-5 job. He's not a professional grappler, right? He's in his 40s. What does competing mean to you? How valuable is competing truly to you? For lots of people, it's very therapeutic, right? For lots of people, it's their chance to see how courageous that they can be and to test themselves against people of their similar age and skill/belt level. And I think that's beautiful. For me, that's why I compete. It's not about winning a specific medal. I don't have I used to always say, man, I want to be an ADCC champion. And it's yeah, that's true. It'd be really cool to be an ADCC champion, but it's not necessarily a goal. I compete more or less to put myself in positions where I'm really, really uncomfortable. But I do not think everyone needs to compete. I don't think everyone should compete. I do think that competing is more dangerous than practice. The reason I say that is, if you go to competition and you're not prepared, or you go to competition and you do something, you perform a habit that you get away with in practice because your partners are being nice to you, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get injured. There's a lot less to expect. And, you know, there's just so many more variables in competition that will lead to injuries, whereas like in practice, there tends to be less variables. Practice injuries tend to come from things like you just being exhausted or you're just going with the spaz. But competition can be dangerous because of the nerves, the anxiety, the unfamiliarity, lack of warm-up, etc., etc. And so I think Toby and whoever else, I think you have to have a conversation with yourself and say, what does competing actually mean to me? Do I actually want to compete? You know, I'm 40 something years old. I have a full-time job. I'm not going to be a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. What is it worth risking? And if you do want to compete, if you're like, Brandon, I get it. Injuries happen. It sucks, but I want to compete. I just want to compete for me. And that's totally fine. It doesn't even have to be deeper than that. Like, I want to compete for me. I say keep in contact with your physio, keep in contact with your PT. Be very aware of going too fast, rushing things. And then also, this is just my advice as a wrestler. When you're going against a much bigger person, be careful going under them, right? I love the duck under. I love it. But if I'm also pretty freaking high level with the duck under, so I'm good enough to get past someone who's much bigger than me because my timing is sharp, right? But maybe start working on takedowns that don't require you to actually be stuffing on them, like hand fighting, pulling on the head. If a guy's 40 pounds bigger than you, if you just pull on his head for 5 minutes, he's going to get tired. You start to do snap downs, front headlocks, arm drags, etc. I love the duck under. Guys, if you get really, really good at the duck under, it doesn't matter how much bigger the person is than you, but there's also youth, athleticism, experience. I have 14 years of wrestling. That makes it a lot easier for me. There's a lot of variables more than just the pure technique itself, because the pure technique is great, but you get the point. So that's my advice, guys. If you're an older grappler and you've gotten hurt but you still love competing, you want to do it, take your time. Don't be in a rush to get back. Get really comfortable, like Toby said, like train with partners you trust. And then when you go compete, maybe you guys are gonna kick my butt for this, but maybe don't wrestle in the absolute division. I am a wrestler all in all. All the way through, I'm a wrestler. I am a wrestler, right? I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, but I am a wrestler. But I will say, if you're pretty decent at jiu-jitsu, you know what you're doing in jiu-jitsu, and you're going against a guy who's much, much bigger, and you just feel like, okay, taking him down is a big injury risk, pull guard. Do the old man style, get the half guard, figure it out from there. But sometimes the risk is not worth the reward. Sorry that I might sound sleepy, guys, just a little bit later, but I really wanted to respond to this message in a video. With that being said, guys, my Patreon is now up. You guys are going to see it right here, right? I have a ton of videos that are coming up. It's going to be weekly class videos, meaning, for example, any technique that I teach in a certain class is going to be cut up and edited into like 15 to 30 minute clean videos for you guys to just watch once a week, sometimes twice a week. It depends, but at least minimum once a week. You can start your 7-day free trial here. After that, it's about $17 Canadian, so I think about $12 US a month, so it's really nothing. Also, if you like more individualized programs, like you're like, I want to learn how to do these duck unders without getting hurt, or I want to learn single legs, or I want to learn takedowns for older grapplers, as you guys can see right here, I actually have individual instructionals, which are currently on sale if you use the code SPOOKY31 until, I believe, well, let's see, when's the sale end? The sale ends on November the 4th, but if you use code SPOOKY31 before November the 4th, 2024, then you can get 31% off all of my instructionals besides my ankle pick instructional, which just dropped. Hopefully you guys found the video helpful. Sorry it was a little bit longer. Thank you, Toby, for the message. And if you guys ever have any messages, there's no dumb questions, please ask me. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, etiquette, etc., etc. I'm not God, right? But I do love having these discussions, and I'll do my best to answer the best I can.